Welcome to Build a Brand That Sells. Tonight, we're going to be talking all through around how you get really, really clear and bring the two together, but also the difference between the two, because I think people often confuse them and it complicates us and it therefore complicates your audience too. So let me just see here. This isn't for you if you get overwhelmed easily. I'm really clear on that. I can be very pacey because we often have lots to get through. So I'm going to try and make sure that I meet you where you're at tonight. But it's like, we're not here for overwhelm. I often think that if we weren't overwhelmed, we'd be underwhelmed. And would we want to invest and work with people and feel underwhelmed? Probably not. So it's a reframe. If this doesn't align with your brand, it's not for you. If you're going to do nothing with what I share, again, there's no point being here. Like, I really value your time. So let's make sure that the things I share tonight, you go away and at least try, give it a go. And if you think great messaging alone will save your business, it won't, nor will just sales or marketing or branding. There's so many things that come together. This is for you, though, if you understand that entrepreneurship is a long game, and it's an incredible game. It's really, really challenging at the best of times, but it's also so incredible what it can bring us, the opportunities and the lifestyle it can bring as well, and a change to things. So it's here for you if you want to simplify and get more clients. Anything complex, I'm out. I haven't got time for it. I like things that are simple and easy. And if you want to impact more people, this is definitely something I've been weaving more into my messaging the last even just week, because I've been really thinking around my purpose and how much we're messaged this whole 5K, 10K months. And sometimes people don't even want that. So this is about real impact for people, like buying back time and giving you financial freedom and stability. Those are the core things I have in my values. So you're in the right place if all of those things are relevant for you. Why listen to me? I've got 19 years corporate experience leading teams. I'm very passionate about personal development. I won CPD Coach of the Year, as you can see there at Coaching Academy. And I'm really passionate about really helping people learn, grow, and achieve their true potential. And that was always what I did in corporate. I've been building my business from 3 years from scratch, started one-to-one, did what my mentors told me, and I've got great results. I've worked with so many clients over the last few years. I've been in masterminds, I've been in memberships, I've had my own offers as well. And I think you learn by doing. I think it's the best way. So I'm not here to get all my ducks in a row. I'm just going to give it a go. And half the time I fail at everything and I get to that win. I've invested a lot of money in myself, in a business, in incredible people who are doing incredible things, and not just about money, they're about impact as well. So I think it's important to share that we do have to invest in ourselves. I'm a true believer in, if I'm going to ask somebody to invest in me, I do that work myself. I do the work, and now I teach others to do it faster or in a different way, and hopefully keep it simple and clear. But I didn't start here. I've been in what some of you will be able to relate to. I've been in really dark places where I didn't know what was the meaning of life, what I wanted to do. I went into depression when I was leaving corporate because I felt I'd lost my identity. I didn't know what I stood for, who I wanted to help, what I wanted to do. And I really had to dig deep on what was, the next 30 years going to look like for me in terms of work. So I've felt invisible. I felt the best kept secret in the room with what I know and how I can help people. I had no online knowledge when I came on to what we call online, although I do think that conversation now is, online, offline. I think that business is business. I think that we need to all have that presence on and offline is so important. And that's why I'm running an event next month, because I like to show people how important in real life events are. I've built on clarity, confidence, and cash flow. I'm a true believer in cash flow, which I'm going to talk to you later about the importance of that and how I bring that into my offers, because I think that many people don't realize that until it's tough times. And actually, we lean into the hard stuff and get it out the way, and we are more confident, and we're able to run our businesses when we have capital in there. And success means nothing if you lose yourself in the process. So this is all about creating success on your terms. Really passionate about that and sharing our struggles. I shared a post, I think yesterday, around 3 things I failed on last week. Gets better engagement when we share things that we fail at, because it's more relatable and of resonance to people than someone constantly flying high and being amazing. That's great if they are, but it's not ever with the areas where we build trust with people. And my why. I'm obsessed with helping people grow their businesses and doing what they love. I love it. I love business. I've found my voice. I don't copy everybody else. I lean into what's right for me, what's right for my audience. I've crafted messaging that is connecting and selling and has people coming to me saying, it's like you're in my head. I've built a business that is around financial freedom and also the ability to choose what I want to do when I want to, which was the ultimate I wanted when I left corporate. You don't need to shout really loud. You don't need to sound like everybody else. You need to sound like you. That's how you're really going to grow and build your audience. And that's why I do what I do. So you stop blending in and you start being known for the amazing work that you do. Everybody here, everybody in my mastermind, many people in my audience, they have something incredible to give. And it's just that we just get started. The biggest problem most business owners face right now that I see when it comes to messaging and branding is that their messaging gets lost in the noise. And actually now it's starting to sound like AI. And that's a real risk for businesses. They're blending in and then they're not standing out. And you'll see those lines like, to tell you the truth, or let's be honest, let's get real. Here's where you're wrong. Here's what to do, what's right. All of that. And don't think that I haven't done it, and I do it, and I will continue to at points. But I think it's important that we really start to bring our personalities and ourselves to our messaging, and we use AI as a fabulous tool it is and work with it, and it's kind of like the draft, and then we work with that. But what we're finding out then is that lacks trust because we just see the same thing, and we know that businesses that stand out are not, again, like I said, they're loudest, but they stand for things. I was listening to a reel on Gymshark the other day, and it was Ben Francis talking around how he built the brand. And he says, like, we were talking about ambassadors, and he's like, we don't just take anybody on. We look at culture fit, we look at values, we look at personality. We're not even fussed about what you know. That's the kind of things that we look at. So again, it's a real reframe in how important these things are to build trust with people, getting great conversations with people that can help, so that then we convert and then we grow. So the outcome at the end of today is to help you look at building a brand and a content identity in that brand. That's really important. So people know you for you. There was somebody on a call I was on this morning with the amazing Jo Simpson, who's an accountant, and she was saying about how she just shows up how she is. She's like, I am like this, whether you meet me like on Zoom or in real life. And that's really important, that we get that across to people, that we build that relationship, because that helps build trust as well. We can't be different people. So it's important to bring ourselves to our businesses. We're going to create messaging that sells, turning cold leads into loyal clients. All of my clients I get on incredibly well with. I want to be that support to them, that go-to, that voice, and sometimes even stuff beyond business, that they feel that they've got somebody there to talk to and it's not lonely, because it can be. We need to stop overthinking platforms and what we do. Essentially, we just need to get it done. Get SHIT done and dusted. Again, a client this evening, Mary, and I just said, just post it, Mary. That's it. Just do it. And that's what we need to do. Like, just be really confident, have purpose and consistency in what we do. One of these things I'm consistent in, regardless how many people show up, I will do a masterclass every single month. I've done that since I started the business in April 2022, and I will continue to do that, because for me, it works well. I don't just use it just for this moment in time with people here. I'll use it and I'll share it with people to help them in other ways, so I can repurpose material. But I'm really committed to doing that because I know that it works. It's consistency. And map out the next 90 days of your content, your offers. So you can start thinking around how you do that, and it's not overwhelming. So this is truths, it's theory, and it's practical. Just forgive me, I'm kind of doing a bit of this today because my screen's in a different place. So messaging is what you say. It's a communication you have, and it's how your audience understand things. It is not about us. It's not about you. It's about them. And it's that message that we want to communicate, and how do we want them to respond to it? So to really get clear on messaging, it's around communicating value, and it's who you help, what you do. When you have, we'll come on to it later on, but your copy and your bio and things, I really want you to think around, like, do you say that kind of I help, I work with, or are you able to confidently talk about people come to me when? And when we mean people, like, who are people? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they creators? Are they coaches? Are they personal trainers? Really break down and think around who you specifically want to help. And I promise you, If you niche this clearly, it will really help you. It will help you stand out as well. So we'll think around the problems you solve and the outcomes. And if you don't know who you're speaking to, it's very hard to solve their problems. It's too generic, and there's somebody else that's doing it. The stories and the language that we use, and essentially, like I said, we need to get people to say, that's exactly what I need. I know I need this. There's nothing else that's it. It matters because it's your business's voice, and it has to be consistent. And I work with clients on messaging through their personal branding, through their offers, through looking at their ideal client, to how they then market and how they then sell. It has to be consistent throughout. And I think so many business owners start just looking at, I need to fix my marketing, I need to fix my sales, I need to get more people in. But actually, there's a congruence through all of it. It's like the golden thread that we've got. And that's what I believe is your messaging being consistent. So some of the things I'll see with poor messaging are that people aren't getting consistent leads. People asking, how can I work with you? No interest at all, no engagement in what you're sharing. And therefore it's low engagement. And feeling invisible despite all the efforts. So you just become the person that just post, but then you just don't feel that you're getting anything from that. And that's what we need to work out. So it's about being relatable. It's about being compelling. It's about being of high resonance with your audience, that connection piece. Branding is not about that, what we're saying. It's about how somebody feels. So also how it looks. So when we look at this, we're looking at things like maybe the visuals and essentially the personality around that message. So you might think of someone now, let's think of, if I was to think of Disney branding and I think of Mickey Mouse. I think of McDonald's and I think of the golden arches. You think of Nike and you think of the swipe, the tick, the swoosh. It's the branding is what communicates the visuals. So it's more than logos, all of that together. And again, it's a feeling that something has. It'll be colors. I tend to use a lot of purple and white because I think it's quite clean and smart, and it's a bit it's not black, it's not as dark and hard. So again, there's people have yellow because it's bright. Blue often means trust. Green, you'll often see associated with things like health. So when you think of like Nuffield Health, I always remember going to there and thinking, oh, it's all green. It's all because it's around health. So these play a massive part as well. So it's really thinking around the look and the feel of something you want to be a part of. All of this matters. And again, a consistency part. So how do you build a content identity? Because this is important. This is about it reflects you. So your audience isn't just a clone of you. They're different. Like we're all different and we're all unique and incredible in our own ways. So I want you right now to write down, or at least take a moment as you're sitting here, to think around 3 words that describe how you want your brand to feel. Like write them down. One of mine that I'm really working on right now is fun. It keeps coming everywhere in my life. My mindset coach was helping me through values back in September. And I was like, fun is just sitting there for some reason. And I was like, I don't feel very fun. How do I get that across? So it's something I'm working with there. But you may say aspirational. You may say friendly, warm, exciting. It's how do you want like people to feel? And again, some of those colors will do that as well. So pink, maybe doing that. So and write them down, like commit to it. And again, this doesn't have to be something you share with somebody, but what you'll often find is you'll start to do this work and it will start connecting dots, like I said. And you can only connect the dots when you have that hindsight and you started doing the work now. So I want you to write down, don't mimic others. Don't think, oh, I like theirs, I'm going to do that too because it works for them, because you often don't know the strategy behind it. Start mastering your message, because people will be attracted to the real you, genuinely. It's the same as when we often hear people say, I've just started listening to my intuition. I'm running with that in a business. So I want you to write down those 3 words that describe how you want your brand to feel, so you know this. It starts with that high awareness. So I started to think around copycat. We hear it quite a lot online. I often like to think that people model. You know, at the end of the day, there isn't a lot of new ideas that we can just suddenly say, that's our new idea. And so many people put off putting an idea out there and somebody else goes and does it. They say, well, that's my idea. And it's like, well, you could have just run with it. You just procrastinated. But copycats is often people who use trending hooks, but no depth. And we're just losing this for just an idea here, a bit more surface level. They're doing post of validation. I see a lot of that on Facebook. People want that, like that engagement, but just for validation, to make them feel good. And that's fine. I'm not here to judge that, but that's not often the motivation it gets somebody to buy. You just get people to like it. And likes don't get engagement, and the engagement is part of what we want with our audience. We want to take them on that journey, not just like stuff and move on to the next thing. They say what everyone else is saying. So again, you'll see the M dashes in the copy and things like that, because they will just have dumped it into chat and just think they can just post that out and not think around, actually, how do I bring myself to that? And it looks so polished, but it's forgettable. Right now, what we're seeing with content is that some of the content, when you are just literally grabbing your phone, sitting in front of it, like I did today on my stories on Instagram, if you see, I jumped in a car and I was like, I've suddenly forgot to say about my masterclass. And whatever, I've gone off my little tangent. But that gets people to focus more, to lean in, to want to hear more from you. So we have that downtime with people. And again, that consistency over and over. So I often daily talk on my stories. So the same people follow. I know they do. And I'll see them and then I'll start conversations from them. So we have leads all around us. It's about them. We can take those conversations. So we want to just get people that are engaged and following us. So we don't want to sound like everybody else, because that will be boring to them and they'll switch off. People don't like boring. To stand out in the right way, we want to be really speaking our truth, share things that we care about in our content, talk about things that we care about. I often talk about health and how I think to have a successful business, you need to look after your health. It's really, really important. And I value that. So I really want you to think around for you, what is it that you're sharing in your language and not just AI? The lessons, things you're learning, share those. Last week, I said a minute ago, my post was around 3 things I failed at last week. So share things, even if they feel raw, but they're real and they're relevant to people, because that's the type of thing that's personable and will get your the level of connection you need with your audience there. So the key differences between the two, so we're really clear. Messaging creates clarity and demand, and we need to have demand in business. If nobody wants what we do, we're not going to make money. We're not going to make those sales we want to. So we need a demand, like supply and demand, as you will have heard about before. We need supply and demand, but we need demand in what we do. It gets people to listen, to resonate, and then buy. Branding amplifies the message, so it makes it recognizable and memorable. It's not just that billboard, okay? We need to be really connecting that message. So again, when somebody reads something, they think, that's me. It's not forgettable, and it's there to amplify you, okay? So it's really, really important you think around the differences between the two and where this sits for you right now, and then go back to those words you were thinking around. Crafting or creating messaging that sells. Every business is a funnel. And the sooner I learned this, the easier everything became. And I always come back to it. I think we overcomplicate and we make business really complex, and doesn't need to be. Simplicity is everything. Every single business is about bringing traffic in, having that high awareness, attracting people, getting them to the consideration mode. So that's visibility part. And then decision is where we make the sales. So every single business, every single day, you should be thinking about, how can I get more traffic in? How do I build more awareness about what I do? How do I build that relationship and nurture and be more visible for people in different places? How do I make those sales? How do I close that? This is top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, all the time. And what we want with our content is to speak to different people where they're at. So in your audience right now, you will have people who are aware of you. They've maybe seen you speak at an event. Maybe they've seen you pop up with advertising to run a masterclass like this. They've seen you do something, a challenge. They've seen you doing content on Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok. Then they'll follow you. So they may do that follow thing, or they'll connect on Facebook. So they'll start seeing you more things. They then see you're doing a masterclass. They sign up to a masterclass. They sign up to the challenge. So they're seeing you because they're following you, because there's something that you are sharing that is what they need help with. So they are more aware of what you can help them with and the problem they've got. If they're at the top of the funnel, they've got no idea their problem often. So most people at the top of the funnel have no idea they need help with their messaging. Then they start to follow me more, see what I share, and they're like, actually, I need some help with my messaging here. So then they start to think about, well, who else can help with my messaging, or who else can help my branding, or all of it. And then they'll go to that decision mode. So again, this is why we need to put things out to get interest, to get engagement, to bring people in, to get them to raise their hand, to show they're interested, so we can have that conversation and understand, is this a fit for us? And then we get into sales. So I just think it's really clear that we just, again, spend time thinking around the purpose of why we're doing what we do with this. So the power of a small message tweak here, what you're seeing, that content part coming in and really thinking about the way you're communicating with your audience. Small shifts can make big sales. And this is what I love about business. When we learn around sales, messaging, marketing, sometimes it's just a few tweaks that people need to start getting results. And that's exactly what Amanda had. She had too many offers when she came into work with me back in February. And she was doing roughly $2,000 to $3,000 a month. We went to $9,000 a month within 3 months because we really simplified her offers. We got really clear on who she was speaking to with those offers, her audience, and serving them. So Amanda's amazing at branding photography for business owners. She's done some branding for me and my masterminders. She's also does business, like she do products for businesses, but she's known for newborn photography. So that's what we leaned in on. And that's what we got really focused on. When you get good in one area, then we can add to it. Then we can start speaking to more people and broaden it out. But to help her niche and help her get really simple and focused with her offers, helped her to reach these months. So even things like changing them within this, join my program as a tweak. Here's how I helped. This is what I'm sharing with you, is what I communicated. If I'd have just said, join my mastermind, it wouldn't connect the same way for somebody to see, like Amanda here, from £2,000 a month to £9,000, and in 3 months, 90 days. So again, it's sometimes just those small tweaks that we need. The result was you get more DMs, you get more people interested. Amanda came off the back of something very similar with a previous client, and she did the keyword into Instagram, and then we booked onto a call, and then we worked out if this is a fit and right for her. So again, she showed her interest because she saw something, and it built trust, because she's like, well, I want those results too. So this isn't about being clever. This is about clarity. And it's not about posting more. This is about quality. We have to be putting out content that connects and that speaks to our audience, not just thinking, oh, it's Monday night, I haven't posted anything, I'm just going to share this because I'm just tick box. I'd rather you post quality and really speak to your audience in a way that connects. So action-wise, I want you to start thinking, and you may be in different places. You may be watching this and have no clients right now. And then what we do then, the aim is to get you working with clients. That's the core. We need to be putting out offers. We need to either run a beta, a pilot offer. We need to have something out there for people to buy. That's why offers are so important. So then we can start to stack proof, evidence, because this builds trust. And that's what's broken right now in 2025 for people, is trust. Because you're seeing so many people putting out the same thing. It's like, well, who do I trust? Where do I go? Slightly off topic, but I was talking about this today. Google have a bit of an idea that they've got like 7, 11, 4, and they're saying literally within their marketing that they see that they have to give 7 hours of content before someone would even think to buy. 11 different ways on 4 different platforms and things. So it's really, really interesting to see that, the psychology behind how people buy. This is why it's so important that we do the groundwork on making sure that messaging, the branding is there foundationally. So if you're thinking around, well, how then do I get out to people for 7 hours or 9 hours, or maybe it's free? There's so many different things that we can get hooked up on. The reality is we need to be marketing out there for people to see the value in what you do and how you can help. And to do it through your clients is a great way. So this is why I'll always invite clients to get clients. Let's do that so we can get the evidence. You're going to learn what works with them, what doesn't, opposed to putting things off, waiting for it to be perfect. And then we can start to share this, and people in your audience will start to see themselves in that story. That's the aim of this, not you just telling, I can get you results. Creating content converts. So I want you to think around the buyer's journey, like we said: awareness, conversion, delivery, like sales. Where are your audience right now? Do you think most people are aware of the problem that they've got and it's you solve that problem? Are they aware of that? Or are they not aware? Because this will share the different content that you need to put out. So we need to be making sure that we're sharing content is of value, so connection, um, content that's giving education. Lots of people say education is boring and things like that. That's not true. Like we do need to give educational content out there. Because it's really important. And often we know so much more than in our skilled area than other people do. And that's so important that we share that. And then we need to be putting out again sales posts and things. So I was saying to somebody today, me putting out a post about this masterclass, it's not going to get some much engagement. Sales posts don't. I know that because people don't like being sold to. We love to buy, but we don't want to be like in that sales mode of people because we don't want to feel that pressure, especially if you're from the UK. And that mindset we just don't like. And you need to use storytelling and relatable content as well. So that's why on a Sunday, I always share the weekly debrief and I'll share things that have happened in a week that sometimes have relation to business and sometimes have absolutely nothing to do with it. So things like time with my niece, time with my fiance, been away, or if I've just taken time off, and I've shared those things to bring like Natalie to the table as well, not just business mode. So share different formats, videos, posts, reels, emails. Again, there's no cookie cutter on this, unfortunately. All of you will share something slightly different in a different way. I seem to do very, very well on carousels, so I just do more of them. Others will do really, really well on videos, so do more of those. So again, I want you to test stuff. This is the importance of messaging. To see what works, we have to test, test, test. And I think have some fun with that as well. Like when I look at something and I think, oh, that's failed, I'm like, well, why has it failed? What didn't connect? Sometimes it can be pure timing. I can post Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I get incredible engagement. I've started to notice Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, my engagement's really dropped. Why? Because my audience aren't on social media the same anymore. So again, I think it's really important we start to really understand our audience even more and follow their energy. So I don't post as much content at the weekend as I do in the week because it's not going to get the same reach and engagement that I want. So again, I don't get too stressed or overwhelmed at that because I know my audience really well. So that's become the norm to me. So we have to test loads of things and work out what's working for us and what's not. Please stop overthinking. I really, really want to hit hard on this because so many people just put off just doing that next thing. We were talking in the mastermind today about going live and you've got to get 1,000 followers. My target to people then, if they don't have 1,000 followers, is go and get 1,000 followers. That's what we need to do. We need to connect with people every single day. I set myself a target to get in 20 conversations a day. If that seems overwhelming, you start at 5. Like speak to 5 people each day. That across a month, across a year, that level of connection, and it's a numbers game in business, will completely change the amount of business you'll be doing in a year's time, or even in a month's time. So don't overthink this. I was at Creative Fest event last Thursday, and there was someone very high up in LinkedIn sharing around like the algorithm and all of the incredible stuff that's going great and not so great because I think loads of people feel that LinkedIn's changing as a platform and it's really hard and complicated. And you see here, I've got my LinkedIn bio there. She was reality saying, and she's very, very established and high up in LinkedIn, like I said, just effing post it, is what she said. She said so many people don't post. And then they wonder why they don't get any connections, they don't get people following or engaging in their content. She goes, you've just got to post. Stop overthinking it. Just do it. And it's really, really important. You don't want to just be everywhere. You want to be the platform where your ideal client is. My ideal client is on Instagram. And I'm also going back to build more on my LinkedIn. But it needs a slightly different targeting message because the audience is slightly different to Instagram. So again, I've done that research. I've known that. I know through the engagement, I know through the people that will get on sales calls where they're at typically in their business compared to on different platforms. And I've only known that by putting things out there and giving it a go and getting more conversations to understand, actually, you know what it is, but you don't know that. What do you need help with? So overthinking looks like constant comparison. You've got to get in a mode of creation over consumption. Like create more than you consume. Really, really important. And I literally have this right across on a post-it because it's so important I remember every single day. The minute I start doom scrolling or get distracted, that's time out of my business where I could be creating. That's what's going to get people in. Don't try and master all the platforms. Again, lean into where your ideal client is. Get really, really good on that. I always was fortunate that I learned that very early on, is to just get very good at one offer in one place at first of all, and then build. Purposeful presence looks like more clarity on a message. So who you help. So there's an example here, and it is the I help. It's not that people come to me when, because I simply can't fit that in my bio on Instagram. It's too small. If you want to put, like, be specific on it, be like with who the avatar is, then do. Or if you want to do it more on what you help them on, you can do that as well. There's a generic one here, for example: I help female business owners make more money online. Follow for daily growth hacks, and DM info if you want to know more about my mentorship or my program. So I'm really, really clear of a few things I want people to do. It's slightly different on LinkedIn. Again, it's I help female business owners to build authority and dial in their messaging to attract and to make more money online. So again, you can change and evolve this. Mine's changed so many times, but you do have to get started with something. So I really want you to just think around who you help and what you help them with, and just be really clear on that. And if you're struggling, then the invitation is there to reach out. Just send me a DM or send me an email. Just say, can you help me on this? Ask. But we need to be really confident in the delivery, because that will help us with the consistency part. So 4 core messages that I pretty much share all the time. I've done a podcast on this. I did YouTube on it the other week. I share it in pretty much every masterclass because it's the framework I've got for helping you get messaging out there. And if you're revisiting this or you've seen it before, again, I want you to just think around, am I really clear on all these areas? Or could I do more? Because we see things through a different lens. What you do and who you help, get really clear, concise, and outcome driven. People buy results. They want to save time. They want to make money. They want to save money. They want a better relationship with themselves. They want a better relationship with others. They want to have more fun. They want to have peace of mind. These are things that people buy. They pay money for. So I really want you to think around with what you're sharing and selling. What is that outcome that they want? That's the transformation people buy. And again, as soon as we can start to get that clarity, it will really help with what we're sharing, because we always come back to that. Your story and why it matters. People buy from people, not businesses. So share things you care about. We are seeing businesses, like, I used to work in retail. I was in retail for 19 years. We are seeing CEOs in retail become brand almost ambassadors. They are the brand. So important. So it's really, again, it's a great opportunity for you to get close to your branding. Like I just said at the start about Gymshark and Ben Francis, he's part of the branding. He walks his talk on it. He leads that by example. People buy from people. I like Gymshark because of the things he talks around in terms of personality. He talks about culture. He talks about bringing people together and how important that is before business and making money. He talks about that's the ethos of which the business was started. And that speaks to me because that's how I want to build a business and how I do build my business. So I want you to think around, for you, sharing your story on things, why it matters. And like, I'm, again, that relatability there on him saying culture and personality, that was important to me with how I led people in corporate. That was my story. What makes you different? So your unique edge, what you care about. If you care about family time and having your weekends off, then share that, because you will attract people who feel the same way. It's really important. It's not for us to judge people on it. It's for us to help people. I care about, as I said, fitness and focusing on like being the best I can be for me, though I can be that for clients as well. I'll also share around family time. That's really important to me. I absolutely love making money. I love having a business, but I've learned the hard lesson in corporate. I don't want that again to be like the fears I have around success are that I'll get to the same place and be quite unhappy. And I'm always really transparent about that. So I don't fear failure. I fear success. So I have to always work on that. So I have to make sure that I just all the time I'm giving time to family time and doing things that are fun, going to the theatre, seeing my friends. And how you do what you do. My style is I'm naturally quite confident. I always have been. So I try and help others to be more confident and work on their mindsets, because it's just a natural skill I find I have. So I have to break down confidence and I help people on it. I can be direct at times, but I'm also direct with like as my client coined it, she said, you're like compassionate, arm round, empathetic, but you're kind of that, I guess, sugar and spice a bit as well. But you're direct, you want to help people, you're honest with them, you're transparent. And I care about those things. I'd rather be honest and say, let's work on that. It could be better, or this is where we're at, this is what we need to do. Or actually, what else could you have done there? And just being really honest with people, because it actually moves them to achieve greater things by being that way. And because I've got evidence of that working, I stand by it and I care for that. And that may not work for some people. They may feel it's too overwhelming or it's too intense. That's for them to work on first. And then maybe I would be 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, and that's okay. So be consistent. So that's just a snapshot of my recent feed on Instagram. I post daily. I will share things that are, again, so you've got different examples. You've got the Twittery style ones where you've got some content and I share things, they're more educational about here's what I do to do X. If you're struggling with this is what I would do. Here's how I got to this result. I share things that I've struggled with. I share things that are maybe on holiday or with family and friends, so I can bring a bit of personality to it. You've got a fiction messaging and sell more. I've got my event in there, so I do sell, but not as much as I do connection content and educational content as well. I've got some clients there. There's Tony that's tagged me in a post, so I'll share those as and when I can. And you'll see a fitness post there as well. You'll see one of me laughing and bringing things like that. So I want you to think around the content that you're sharing right now. Is it getting across your values? If I was to go, or more importantly, if you were to go through your feed, would it really reflect the personality that you want to bring to your business? The messaging of how you help people, what you help? Have you got clients sharing their testimonials on there? Proof is a really big thing. It really helps to build trust. So there's Hannah on there. We worked together on a VIP day. She did 10 bookings in 48 hours. Like, people want that. My audience want that. So again, I can share, this is the kind of work I was doing with Hannah recently. Maybe the VIP day is something you'd like to consider. And then again, it's that then people to say, okay, yeah. And then I'd say, would you be against learning more? And like, no, tell me more. So then I can go into sales mode. So every post, every story, every word you have has the ability to get across your brand, to get across your messaging. So I really want you to think here, as I've said, when someone lands on your content, what do you want them to feel? Most of all, like, we can then go on to like, what do you want them to do? But like, what do you want them to feel? That's important. Standing by it. I won't be for everybody. And that's absolutely okay. That's fine. I can't be for everybody to help them. But I do want to be true to myself. I want you to be true to yourself, because you'll start to attract more people that way. It's the law of attraction, right? You attract who you are. So positioning to create demand. A few kind of little lessons here. Stop selling to everyone. Really niche down and own your space. I got into messaging because I felt that I was doing what everybody else was doing and I was not cutting through the noise, and I didn't really stand out, and I felt I had all this great value and support I could give people, but I was just mixing in with the crowd. So I went to my mentor and I said, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you suggest? Because I feel I need my one thing to be known for. It's important. She was like, messaging, because you're very good at messaging, and it's how do we help people to get better at theirs. And it's taken me months and months and months, taken me 18 months to get to a point where people are now starting to say, you're known for messaging. It takes time. And that won't be the same for everybody. Sometimes, like I said, it can be a few tweaks and things. But again, that consistency part there is what I want to share to you. And again, being in for a long term. This is about building businesses that serve us right to the future, that we absolutely love doing every single day. So use positioning statements that offer, again, say about your offer here and compel people towards you. Show your authority of confidence. I know what I'm very good at. So an action here might be to write down a list of everything you're great at. I spoke at a retreat a couple of weeks ago, and I said, you've got 2 minutes, write down everything you're amazing at. Because we literally default into negative. We're not good enough at this. We failed at this. We can't do this. We can't do that. 80% of our thoughts every day are negative. And it takes, I think, 8 positives to outweigh 1 negative. So we've got a lot of work to do. So you need to know what you're great at. I know I'm great at listening. I know I'm great at helping people with messaging, with branding, with making more money in their business. I know I'm great with staying consistent in the gym and having time off and not being distracted by my emails or by my messages. I've got loads of things to work on, but I want you to really think around what you're great at and share these with people as well. So mapping out your next 90 days, that was part of the commitment I had when I shared what I was going to share in this masterclass today. So this is around your offers, your content, and everything should move in sync. Like it should really have that flow because it will help you be more confident with your business. So taking it step by step, I want you to think of one offer that you've got right now. Define 3 or 4 content pillars around it, just 3 or 4 at a minute. So if it was me doing messaging and my mastermind, I would be saying my content pillars around that would be, I talk around personal branding because of the awareness you need to have about your personal brand in your messaging. I talk about ideal client, I talk about offer, and I talk about marketing. I talk about other areas too, but if I was doing a focus right now, I would be talking only about those areas. So other things I wouldn't be talking about. I wouldn't be sharing a post of my dog or my cat, or a story of my dog or my cat, or a picture of my desk with no context. I would be talking only about those areas. So again, it's thinking around, what do your audience care about? Then set one call to action per month. So what's that? If you're selling one offer, then you have one clear call to action. So let's go back. This one here is Message Me Mastermind. So every single month, because I have one core offer, that's what I talk about. If I had multiple, then every month I would have a focus on things. The only other thing I've got right now, to be fair, is actually my event, which doesn't need it's posted on its own like this. It's got other marketing that I've got, but I want that clarity with the offer. And what we're doing here, again, to meet ourselves where we're at, is to just get that clarity on the one offer that you want. Let's get your one offer. Things you're going to talk about in your content over and over. Like, repetition is the mother of learning. People just get bored by it. We get in a way. We make it confusing and we make it complicated. It doesn't have to be that way. Talk about the same things over and over and be known for that. And then start to track your metrics. Start to look at which posts got more engagement. Did you get more followers following you? If you connect and follow people and they don't follow you back, the reality is the content's not good enough. However hard that is to hear, they are not attracted to your content right now. We have to then work at, how do we get the content better? That's a challenge. Again, like I've said earlier, if I failed at something, I'm like, what did I fail at? What can I do better? So it's an invitation to grow on something and learn. So it's really important that we're honest with ourselves, but set some key metrics. Maybe, like I said, you're not at 1,000 followers, so you can't go live on Instagram. Then set yourself the next 90 days, I'm going to get to 1,000 followers. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum is what builds the sales. I'm a real big believer in momentum and that consistency we get in with that. So messaging isn't just about saying what feels right for you. It's about saying what makes the brand relatable, your offer, your value, and ultimately the people you want to meet. So it's really building that resonance. I will find that people come to me and say, I was in corporate too. And when you share your story on that, it's really relatable because like you get it. And it's true. And I know what that lived experience is when like leaving. On the other side now, I've been out long enough to help people who aren't in corporate, and there'll be different reasons they'll come to me. Maybe something around the health that I really value that. I've got a couple of clients who are personal trainers because they're growing their business and they wanted to leave the gym floor. So actually I've done, again, a transition of leaving a different environment of work to then start their business and grow it online. So I'm able to help there because I've got that journey piece and like, I know what it's like.